Hello everybody, it's Joe here and welcome back once again to my F1 22 career mode campaign. If you haven't seen the last one from China, I urge you to go back and check that one out before you check this one out. This is your last chance to do so before spoilers. Well, we had an engine failure, unfortunately, what appeared to be en route to a fourth win in succession. But unfortunately, like I said, an engine failure ruled us out of that one. So, let's get back on it though. Let's get the momentum back going again. We're at Imola. It's a sprint weekend. Lots of points on the table. Let's grab as many as we can. And hopefully grab a win on the way as well. So here we are in qualifying. It's Q1. And you know what? Well, we're actually not looking that clever on that lap, so we're going to need to go again, and we have found a significant amount of time on our second lap. So really, these first laps I'm struggling with a little bit at the moment, it's got to be said, but it's looking more promising here, and that lap should put us through, although it's going to be close, and I'm not liking that. Yes, we are through, and again, only just. So into Q3 then, as we sailed through Q2, and this is the lap I'm really giving all on, but despite what I'm giving, the lap just isn't there. We're really not hooking this one up as well as we should be, and I can already tell that this is going to be not a particularly great lap, and in fact it's only good enough for 10th. So we're starting the sprint from 10th, but hey, opportunities will present themselves in the sprint to get us up the field in place for the feature race. And it is Dan Ticktum who will be starting first for the sprint.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Daniel Ticktum lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Magnussen, Sainz, Charles Leclerc, and Perez, Norris, Verstappen, Gasly, and Joker, Albon, Mick Schumacher, Oscar Piastri, and Tsunoda, Vettel, Ocon, Lance Stroll, and Felipe Drugovich, Joe, Schwartzman, Latifi, and Jehan Daruvala. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. Here we go then, the formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint. We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So lining up for the sprint, not ideally where we'd like to be, but this is an opportunity to move forwards before the main event. Last cars putting themselves into position now, and we're getting ready for the start of this race. So who is going to come out on top on this sprint race? Dan Ticktum on pole. It's lights out and away we go. Ticktum gets away relatively well, but Hamilton is not going to be wasting any time trying to get past him, and in fact Lewis Hamilton has the better second phase of the start, and Lewis Hamilton leads into the first corner, and Carlos Sainz is trying to force his way past Ticktum. No such luck there though, as we now head to my POV at the start. Lights out and away we go for us then. It's an okay start. Gasly on the left gets a better jump and he's looking at going for Verstappen. Max is going to try and cover that off. On my left is Alex Albon, our old rival from last season. I don't really want to be letting him through as we stay left, and I think we've managed to maintain position. Although Schumacher's now coming down the inside, that's not happening. We cover Schumacher off, and Gasly a little bit compromised by some of the other drivers there. It looks like Norris and Perez are side by side there. Lando in the Ferrari, Checo in the Red Bull, and I think Norris has held on to that. But we are watching Gasly in front of us, and I'm going to try and get him early on. We don't want to spend too much time being held up by other cars here. It's only a short race, and the aim of this for me isn't necessarily to win, it's to get myself in a better position for the race. So we're going to start doing that right now, up the inside of Gasly, and we force him just a little bit wide. But Gasly jumps out of it, and we are up into P9. Daruvala is out of the race. The safety car is out. What has Jehan Daruvala done? Oh dear. A nightmarish debut season for the Indian driver continues. And, well, I'm afraid he can only blame himself for that one. It's 3 straight races now that he's retired from, if you include this sprint as a race. Also out then is Lando Norris. His engine has just failed him in a big way. So the one half of the Tifosi's interest is removed already. Lando Norris, speaking of nightmarish seasons, his one continues. But we got away really well off that last corner. A little too quickly though, because we weren't ready to go racing yet, and we would have passed Verstappen before the line. But now we can have a go into turn 1, but we've lost a little bit of momentum. Verstappen covers, and it turns into a little bit of an ambitious look at Perez there. Verstappen is a little bit compromised, but we're not able to make anything on him yet. So we're just going to have to hang back and bide our time for the time being. Gasly and Schumacher are getting very interested and staying as close as they can. But I'm going to have that one covered. Right, here we go. Dan Ticktum is going for the lead on Lewis Hamilton here. And Dan Ticktum's going to take it, is he? Hamilton on the outside, Ticktum on the inside. Who's got the lead? It looks like Dan Ticktum leads the sprint race here at Imola. Fantastic scenes here as Ticktum takes the lead. Hamilton having settled back into second place. Meanwhile, I'm not wasting too much more time behind Max Verstappen. I'm wanting to go for it. We've got DRS, we've got overtake, and we've had to wait a couple of laps for DRS to come into effect. But now I'm running out of time to move up, so we're going to take this dive on Verstappen, force our way through, and that's up to P7. So already we're improving our starting position for the race, and we're actually getting a couple of points for doing so as well. So I'm quite happy to do that. Next lap then, we're going to have a look at attacking Sergio Perez, and this should be a little bit easier than the move we pulled on Verstappen. Here we go then, overtake, DRS, and a nice toe. Perez goes to cover. We're going to take the inside, and down the inside we go. Perez, a little bit surprised at how quickly I was coming through there, because he went to try and defend again and banged wheels with me. Right, here we go. This is a replay of the move. So I've already gone there, and Perez defending a little bit late and banging wheels with me. I think a day late and $1 short from Perez on that one. Meanwhile, this is how Dan Ticktum lost the lead. He's gone wide, made a mistake, and that's allowed both Mercedes through. He's going to be kicking himself for that one. Dan Ticktum leading the way quite convincingly until that moment. But here comes Carlos Sainz. There's no team orders at Mercedes. Sainz is absolutely going for it here in Imola. He wants to win this sprint race, but he's not been able to get past, and Ticktum has taken advantage of the fighting Mercedes, and he's split them. He's got past Carlos Sainz with incredible momentum through the corner. Ticktum trying to make up for his mistake, and here comes Kevin Magnussen now on Carlos Sainz, who lost just that little bit of momentum there. And Magnussen trying to stay alongside. This is me trying to go down the inside of Leclerc. Oh, that did not look like it ended well at all. We're going to have a look at that in a second. But here comes Magnussen on Sainz, and Magnussen getting the move done and moving his McLaren up into third place. There's more argy-bargy going on there. So we're going to have to switch to my POV soon. to see what happened. All I know is there was a bit of argy-bargy, and I think I might have damage. Let's have a look then, because that sequence of events started with Sainz getting compromised and Magnussen going after him, and me trying to gain positions like mad. There we go then, that's what happened. Oh, I've gone straight off the circuit there, so that's not going to help me in any way at all. But you're going to see Magnussen ahead, pulling alongside to go after Sainz, not getting it done, and Sainz has to back out. Here we go then, and this is me trying to get down the inside of Leclerc, who turns in, bang! Front wing damage, not to mention side damage for me, as Leclerc turned in on me quite hard. I'm trying to defend Leclerc for P5, and that only ends in me batting him off the road because I understeer with the lack of front wing. Oh my days, that was not a good sequence of events at all. And now we're trying to chase down the guys in front, but they've got working front wings, I don't, so it's going to be a struggle from there, and even turning into the corner is a struggle. Right, coming up to the double left on board with Verstappen. Oh, I've gone wide! I've gone wide! Max Verstappen's going to try and get through. Max Verstappen does get through. We're going to try and force our way back through him, but it doesn't happen. We have to settle for what I don't know. Did we get 6? Because Leclerc looked very close there. So here's our POV. We've gone wide. Verstappen's put his car through. We bang wheels. I'm now I don't know what I'm trying to do here, to be honest. But we do hold on to 6th in the end. Wow, that was a highly dramatic end to that sprint race, wasn't it? Well, it may only be a sprint win for Lewis Hamilton, but I'm sure he will take that. He absolutely dominated that race the second he got into the lead. Dan Ticktum had a good go, but he'll have to settle for second. And he finally adds to his points tally. Solid race by Dan Ticktum, got to be said. Despite that mistake, still managing to make up for it and finish P2. He will accept that, I've no doubt. Magnussen getting third then. It's a McLaren 2-3, and they are looking very strong this weekend. We managed to recover from 10th to 6th, so not too bad. I would have liked, ideally, not to have the argy-bargy with Leclerc, but I was trying to gain position. I got a little bit desperate there. And in the championship, Magnussen now closes in to 7 points. So Magnussen could come away from here as the championship leader. And in the constructors, we're still leading the way quite comfortably. McLaren second, Ferrari third. And it's now time for the main event. Piastri is 4th in the standings still. Then it's Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Albon, Hamilton 9th, and Perez 10th. So Lewis Hamilton not really gaining too much from that sprint win, but the points are starting to add up for him now. Is this going to be the turning point for Mercedes? That is the question we ask as we move forwards into the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters in red today. They've all turned out for what we have every expectation will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Daniel Ticktum completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Magnussen, Sainz, Max Verstappen, Joker, Leclerc, Gasly, Perez, and Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda, Albon, Oscar Piastri, and Ocon, Vettel, Joe, Robert Schwartzman, and Lance Stroll, Drugovich, Daruvala, Latifi. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out. So let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. We're almost ready to take the start of the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
Well, I hope the sprint race was enough to whet your appetites, because we've got 32 laps ahead of us here at Imola. We're lining up on the grid now in P6. I'm really thinking we can gain something from this race. The pace looked good in the sprint race, so I'm really thinking we could make our way onto the podium, hopefully, in the main event. I'd like to take the win, but obviously, when you're starting P6, it's a bit of a tall order, but let's see what we can do. Hamilton on pole, Ticktum on second. It's lights out and away we go for the main event. Hamilton gets away well. Ticktum doesn't seem too quick away from that start. And Lewis Hamilton looks like he's going to hold the lead into turn one. Ticktum's trying to hang it out around the outside, but Lewis Hamilton takes the lead, and Dan Ticktum will have to slot in for second for now. He's got Kevin Magnussen right behind him, and in fourth place it's Sainz and Verstappen in fifth. But we lost a couple of places off that start. Let's see how it happened from our POV. It's lights out and away we go. And, well, Hamilton and Ticktum, actually, both of them didn't really get away that quickly in comparison to the guys on the second row. But look at Gasly on my right, just getting a launch of a start. Supreme confidence on the right and on the outside of me to gain him P7, but I'm looking at getting that back as quickly as possible. Are we going to be able to do it around the outside here? Then switch to the inside? Yes, we do, but Gasly, I don't know, he'll feel a little bit forced off there. So, a little bit controversial, but we're up to 7th, and we're now chasing Charles Leclerc for P6 in the Ferrari, and he's tucked up behind Max Verstappen on soft tyres. So Verstappen obviously going for early pace here, but he'll be wanting to get through the pack as quickly as possible on that tyre. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez right behind me as we try and brake hard for the first corner, trying to catch up with Leclerc, but the pack in front of me at the moment just a little bit quicker as we still try and find our momentum. And Perez is going to have a go down the inside here. I'm going to hold the outside. What happens there? Nothing comes of that. We defend Perez, but he had a good look, didn't he? And that was very nearly him gaining a place on us. Right, here we go. End of lap 2. Can we make any more gains on Charles Leclerc? He seems to be tucked right up behind Max Verstappen, and I wouldn't be surprised if Leclerc was to have a look at him here, but he doesn't do so. He stays behind the Red Bull. But this lap, however, we're going to have DRS, so we might be able to launch a bit more of an attack next time round, as we just keep them close in the first sector. And look at this, the top runners all in a line here, so Lewis not really getting away in front of us. We've got some floor damage from hitting the curbs too hard, so we've got to be careful now as we try and get after Charles Leclerc. Look at that, we're reeling him in. Is there going to be a move available to us down the inside? We're not going to make the corner there as we nearly smash into Leclerc. That was ambition ahead of adhesion there. And we lock up, and as a result, we've also now lost the place to Perez. And we try and go around the outside, but we've gone deep there too. So that mistake costing us. Right, here comes Dan Ticktum for the lead of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And Dan Ticktum takes the lead in Imola as we see a replay of me in the distance going straight across the corner. However, next time round, here comes Lewis Hamilton wanting that place back. He goes to the right, Ticktum covers, and then Hamilton down the inside. Who's going to lead out? I think it's going to be Lewis Hamilton. He sold Ticktum the dummy round the outside, and then switched to the inside and took the lead back. Right, we're now trying to get past Sergio Perez here. We go down the inside. Perez covers. There's contact, and Perez goes off. We nerfed Perez into the gravel there. I don't know who's to blame for that one, as, wow, the McLarens are getting very physical, and there's more contact there. Kevin Magnussen losing his front wing, well, a piece of it rather. Is he going to try and stay out, or is he going to pit? Back to my POV now, and I have to say, I feel like Perez closed me in a little bit there, but I will apologise for my part in the incident too. I will take responsibility for my part and say I'm sorry for that one. Right, here comes Leclerc on Max Verstappen now in the battle for 5th. Leclerc goes through. We're a little bit stuck here right now, but oh, there's someone's taken a hit there. Is that just a piece of Magnussen's front wing from what was going off in front of us? I have no idea, but we're trying to keep up with this battle for 5th. Leclerc ahead of Verstappen. But now we're watching Ticktum as he goes wide, makes a mistake, and that's going to allow Carlos Sainz through. Carlos Sainz in the other Mercedes moving up into 3rd. Ticktum making another mistake. He's made a few of them this weekend. And we're now watching what appears to be Magnussen limping a bit round the corner, and he does elect to pit in and change his front wing. That is rotten luck for Magnussen, as we're now trying to get past Max Verstappen in the other Red Bull. Hopefully we'll do it a little bit more cleanly than we overtook Sergio Perez. Here we go, down the inside. Yep, the move is done. Oh, look at this. This is Leclerc and Ticktum now. Leclerc getting past the McLaren. And Ticktum, well, his race going from bad to worse. He has lost 2 places in the space of as many laps. So Ticktum starting to struggle now. I wonder if he's got himself a little bit of damage too. He's now trying to come back on Sainz. I think this is what we were just seeing from my POV. He went to overtake Sainz, made a little bit of a mistake, and Leclerc was able to capitalise. Right, we're now on the back of Dan Ticktum, who currently actually has the fastest lap of anybody in this race. And Ticktum, he's got the pace, but he just keeps making these little mistakes which are costing him. And I'm now trying to find a way past the McLaren driver for P4, as Leclerc will want to do something about the Mercedes 1-2 right in front of him. Right, we've got a little bit more pace than Ticktum, and though we're getting closer, we're not close enough. But are we going to be able to be close enough by the end of the straight? I think so. We're going to take the dive, and Ticktum stays out of our way there. So up into P4, and it's another place loss for Ticktum. Make that potentially 2, as Verstappen is now having a look. And Gasly gets past the pair of them. Right, this is Sainz and Leclerc. That looked a bit aggressive. We're trying to go around the outside of Leclerc, but we've gone into the gravel, we've gone round and into the wall. And is that our race over? No, but we have lost our front wing. And that is a disaster for us here. You see me hit the gravel and into the wall. I honestly thought that was going to be my race over in that moment. Luckily, we're still going. But, wow, look at this. We're trying to go around the outside of Leclerc, but we're just going too fast. Understeered. Hit the gravel. The car's unstable. And I'm very lucky that wasn't worse damage than it actually was. So, into the pits. Ah, that's gutting, that is. We were looking pretty good in this race. And what's more, we're now being held up by Oscar Piastri having his pit stop. So we're now having to wait to have our front wing changed. Luckily, the safety car has come out because of the debris on track. I mean, perfect job from you. I'm not going to lie, IRL, that'd be a heavy, heavy shunt. Somehow, we're still in the race. Right, the safety car has come in. We're now going racing again from P19. So we've got it all to do from there. But first up, we're going to take a dive on Lance Stroll. Get 18th place off of him. Now it's time to try and make our way forwards. Also at the back is Sergio Perez recovering after we put him into the gravel. So I suppose one could call this karma for me for the incident with Perez, and now we've got it all to do. On the back of Nicholas Latifi here, but I do think a move into the chicane while everyone's a little bit backed up won't go amiss, and yep, we're going to get through there. I tell you what, Alpine may want to consider a replacement for their number 2 driver, because Latifi isn't really doing much of anything for them, as we now have a look at Zhou Guanyu for P16 and we get him relatively straightforwardly. So we've still got half the race to go yet. Anything is possible from here. We've just got to try and pick some of these off as quickly as we can. The problem is DRS trains. We are getting a little bit stuck in a DRS train here. We've got Lando Norris who's trying to advance. I'm also trying to advance. Don't forget, Lando Norris started from the back due to having that engine issue in the sprint race, so he's got it all to do as well. And we're just stuck in this train as we try and advance, but it's just we can't do anything because we're stuck in a DRS train. I wish I could see who was leading it, but at the moment we're just really struggling to find our way forwards. It's going to have to be some daring moves into the chicane for sure, and Norris was compromised on his exit there. That's going to allow us a look down the inside, and we're going to brake late, and we're going to try and get Tsunoda as well, who was caught napping there by us. So Tsunoda losing a place as well. Right, here's Robert Schwartzman running in P13 for Alfa Romeo. That's quite a strong showing from Robert, isn't it? Doing a splendid job for them at the moment, considering that the team have been at the back of the pack all season so far. Schwartzman is going to want to defend that, but we're going to, well, we make that relatively easy as Verstappen and Drugovich get a little bit physical there. There was definitely a little bit of contact, and Drugovich wanting to hold on to P11. He's having a good showing as well with Felipe, but right now it's all about what we can do with Verstappen down the inside. Max aggressively tries to defend, but, well, we get past Max Verstappen, and next up is going to be Drugovich. I would have liked to have stayed closer to Drugovich so that I could have got him under the DRS, but as it turns out, we didn't, and we're going to have to wait another lap, and the patience is starting to wear thin. Ocon is in 10th in the Haas, but I do anticipate that we'll be robbing him of that place once we catch up. And Verstappen is wanting a look, as well as Lando Norris, who's managed to clear Robert Schwartzman as well. So here we go then. This is going to be us on Drugovich for P11, and I don't think this is going to be too difficult an overtake somehow. We're able to get it done quite nicely, even with Drugovich only giving me the width of a car's worth of room, but we managed to get ahead and up into P11. Right, on board with Robert Schwartzman now. And there's a car going off there. Who's gone off? I couldn't see who it was. I think that's Lando Norris. Oh, dear, Lando. Oh, dear. So Lando Norris' miserable season continues. We've caught up to Esteban Ocon in the Haas, and we've got past him. Right, next up is Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin, and hopefully we can get past him. Piastri in P8. I don't really have much to say to that, to be honest. Oscar, we need you to step it up, lad. Like I said, when I'm not doing too well and having a day like this, I need my teammate up there. So, options are becoming a thought in my head as we get past Sebastian Vettel as to where we go with Oscar moving forwards. And it's a thought that I've had before, but he's just not doing or being where I need him to be. Right, speaking of not being where you'd need to be, it's Tsunoda pulling out of the race. That's unfortunate for him. Tsunoda out with engine issues, and now we're watching Charles Leclerc trying to get past Carlos Sainz. And you know who this has worked out for? Kevin Magnussen, who pitted before the safety car to change his front wing, and as a result he's managed to work his way back up to second. So it's really worked out for him today, but Charles Leclerc is wanting that final podium place from his former teammate. He's now going to the outside to try and take it, and Magnussen has really closed in on Hamilton, but Leclerc barging his way past Carlos Sainz up into third. We're now right behind Piastri, who spent his whole race behind Albon, and we're now going to try and get past, because we need the points for the championship. Oscar, do not fight me on this. He's fighting me on it. He's fighting me on it. And, well, we have to go deep, almost a bit deep there to cover. But we have got P8 from our teammate. And it's just not good enough from him. It's not good enough for me either because I made a mistake and damaged my wing. So, for both of us, really, it's a weekend to forget. Lewis Hamilton then takes a win here at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We have to settle for P8.
Right, race over. Take care of the car on the way.
Yeah.
And that's it then for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. And what a sensational victory they've managed to pull off here. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everyone played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Kevin Magnussen takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. So let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for your driver?
Complete weekend to forget for both myself and Oscar there, but Lewis Hamilton takes the win and the maximum points tally from this race. And is he announcing himself as a potential contender for this championship? I'm sure he'll be hoping so. Kevin Magnussen gets second then, and a third place in the sprint as well, solidifying his weekend, and Kevin Magnussen is now the championship leader. Charles Leclerc finished on the podium in third, Sainz is fourth, and then it's Gasly, Ticktum in sixth, followed by Albon, myself, Piastri, and Sebastian Vettel grabbing a point for Aston Martin. A conversation and thoughts are needing to be had about what to do about my teammate though, because in reality, in that race, especially with the car performance where it is, I feel like he should be third or fourth, not struggling at the rear end of the points. And the sprint race as well wasn't particularly strong either. So I don't know if it's a case of a bad weekend or if he just, or what, but there are thoughts that need to be had because that's just not good enough. In the meantime though, Kevin Magnussen leads the standings by 6 points. Leclerc is third, 11 points off. Hamilton now up to fourth. Piastri down to fifth. Then it's Sainz, Verstappen, Albon, Ticktum and Norris rounding out the top 10. Lando Norris hasn't been on the podium since Bahrain, and his season really has gone rapidly downhill. He'll be hoping for a turnaround in form, especially with Charles Leclerc looking so strong in the championship contention at this stage. Well, who knows what's going to unfold for the rest of the season, but one thing's clear, I need to start seeing more from Oscar Piastri, because already in my head I'm thinking, what are we going to do when the contract comes around? So, those thoughts are there. Tsunoda is Perez outside the top 10 in the standings now, and 12th is Gasly, then it's Tsunoda and Vettel with 2 points. He's actually going quite strongly this season. It seems to be a more improved season for Aston Martin, as we're 5 races in and 2 points have been scored, and he'll be wanting to add to those as soon as possible. Well guys, what lays ahead of us in this season, who knows, but the championship has taken a turn here. We need to get back on form pronto. Thank you so much for watching this installment. Don't forget to leave a like and hit the subscribe button for more content from me. Until the next time, TTFN guys, ta-ta for now.